Hey book lovers, Victoria here and watching My Books Areme. Today I'm bringing you my June wrap up, but it's kind of my May June wrap up because I didn't do a wrap up in May and I come to realize I read 2 books then and I kind of, yeah. So anyway, let's just dive right in because I've been reading a lot of books this past month, which I'm so happy about. I'm still so behind on my reading goal for the year, but I've been in like a really weird slump. Like I've wanted to read, but like I've not wanted to read. I don't know, it's so weird. Anyway. So, firstly, a book that I actually missed from my previous wrap-up video that I'm so annoyed at myself about because it's not a book that I could easily forget. And that is Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I actually did a full non-spoiler book review video for that one, so go check that out if you want to know more, but I loved it and I'm super excited for the next book in this series. The next book I read was Because of Him by Jessica Rowe. This is actually a reread for me. I think it's like the 3rd or 4th time I've read the book. I gave the book a 4 out of 5 stars. And I'm so glad I reread this book because it made me continue reading the series. But for those who don't know, this is a new adult romance, young adult, new adult romance, really. The first book in the Fortunate series. We are following Blair, who is moving across the country to live with her father that she's never met and his family. After her mother has a drug overdose. On the way there, she bumps into this guy in a diner. They end up pretty much hooking up in the back of his car before she leaves. They don't exchange names, and she finds out that he is actually her neighbor. Small world, I know, right? And they kind of have this weird flirty banter. It's really, really cute until they find out that they kind of can't be together. And even though they really can't be together, they're just drawn back to one another, and it's super cute, and I love it so much. It's such a fun book. Seriously, recommend it if you are a romance fan. Then I read The Kissing Booth by Beth Reekles, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. I gave most books 4 out of 5 stars this month. I watched the trailer, the Netflix trailer, like several times, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna read the book before I watch the film because the trailer looked really, really good. So I started reading the book. I think I've got like 5 chapters in, and I was like, I can't do it. I have to watch the film first because the trailer just looked so awesome. It was gonna be something that I knew I was gonna love. So I ended up watching the film like 3 times before I actually got around to finishing the book. I love the film, by the way. The book was super, super fun. I don't know if I would have preferred reading and then watching or watching then reading. The film, book to movie adaptation wise, I think they did a pretty good job. Yes, there was things that were missing or things that were slightly changed. But I feel like reading the book after having watched it and seeing the differences, I don't think they're major differences. And I also really like that by reading the book, you kind of get like the bonus deleted scenes from the film. It was super fun. Overall, I really liked the story. I loved, in particular, Lee and Elle's friendship, and I just love that it was a super strong and fun friendship that didn't result in romance, which it could have totally gone that way. Like a lot of authors do take like those really close friendships that way, which I will talk about in a minute with another book. And also I just really loved Noah and Elle's relationship. I just loved the whole thing, and I know there's some problematic aspects of it which I did find a little bit like but at the same time I think at the end of the day, when you get to the end of the book, like I loved it so much, and I'm really excited to read the companion novel that goes with this that takes place during a time period near the end of this book. I also just really hope Beth writes a sequel. I feel like with everything that came with the Netflix movie and that it's so like in the spotlight and everyone loves The Kissing Booth, I hope, fingers crossed, that she does write a sequel because it would be so awesome. Then I read Something Real by Jessica Rowe. This is the 2nd book in the Fortunate series. This is following Blair's sister Gemma. It takes place about a month after the events at the end of the 1st book, and she's living in New York. And Gemma is this girl who has like her whole life planned out, her whole ideal life planned out. She's going to graduate, she's going to meet like fall in love and get married to like a professional, like a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. They're going to live in the suburbs, they're going to have a family, the whole white picket fence thing. Like she has it all planned out. It's going to be like the perfect life where nothing can go wrong. The only thing about that is that the guys she's dated that fit that profile have been so much of a bore. Like she's got nowhere with them. They're kind of just not working for her. So one day while she's trying to escape the advances of an ex who just really won't realize that they're broken up, she ducks into a tattoo place, and it's the last place on earth anyone would expect her to walk into. She ends up hiding behind the counter and the guy covers for her, and he's like the complete opposite of everything she's ever looked for in a guy, but he's hot and she's like so drawn to him. And it's that cliched, it's honestly that cliched meet cute that they get, but I loved it at the same time. And her sister Blair and her roommate, who's a lesbian by the way, and I wish we got a book from her perspective because I think it'd be so fun. Just the bits we get to see of her are awesome. Anyway, I digress. They tell her just to go for it, go back to the tattoo place, and so she does. Kind of realizes that he's a little bit of a player and doesn't really want to go there with him, so they end up becoming like best friends and spending all their time together. And it's kind of like they're kind of in a relationship, but they're not. Like, they're not doing any of the sexual stuff and they're not really talking about their feelings for one another, but they do like continually kind of brush up against that fine line of friends and more than friends. And when they sort of nearly kiss, Reed, who is the guy, he kind of gets annoyed that she's not willing to let go a little bit and try something with him. Like, she's kind of being too protective of, she doesn't want anything to happen because she knows it's inevitably going to end. But they just, oh, it's so cute. The only downside I found to this was the length of it. The first book, because of him, was over 200 pages long. This was only just over 100 pages. Just slightly annoyed, but I've noticed the pattern that Jessica has with this series, so I'm kind of not annoyed, but I'm a little bit annoyed. But I really liked it. It was super cute. I gave it 4 stars. Then I went straight into reading Falling for Him, which is the 3rd book in this series. This is following Blair and Gemma's older brother, Nash, who has grown on me in this series. Like, at the beginning, I was just like, not really interested in him. But by this book in the series, I'm like, yes, I want his story. And his is the story of falling in love with your best friend. His friend Ivy, after high school graduation, went off to college to become a fashion designer. I think it was, wasn't she? Yeah. No. Yeah, anyway, and she moved to San Francisco. So she moved across the country to work for this fashion house. She ends up sleeping with a married guy who turns out to be the guy that her boss is married to. So she gets fired, she has to return home, and she ends up moving in to Nash's apartment. And it's so great just to have these group of friends back together again. They kind of fall into the friendship relationship they had back in the day, but this time they start to have feelings for one another, Nash and Ivy, because they're seeing each other in a new light. Like, the last time they probably hung out with one another, it was when they were kids, it was when they were teenagers. Like, they were just kids to one another. They were just the kids that they grew up with for several years. Now they're both adults, and Ivy can see like that Nash is actually a gorgeous man, and Nash can see that Ivy is this beautiful woman, and they kind of have this weird sexual tension, and Nash suggests that they just hook up for one night, like get it out of their system. So they do, and they kind of think, yeah, that's fixed it, until they start falling into just having sex all the time, and they just fall into having a relationship that neither of them realize, but like everyone around them can see. And this was just super fun and super cute, and I loved it. And I actually get this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. Like, I loved it just that little bit more than I did Blair and Silver's. Mainly probably because we get to see Blair and Silver's story continue in this one, and it was so cute, and I really, really loved it. And I'm so excited Jessica set up for, not the next book, kind of set up for the next book, but really set up for the book after that, which I'm so excited about. Like, I love this series so much. Jessica is an awesome author. Definitely check her out if you are into romance. The final book I read during June was Royal Player by Katie McCoy. This is the first book in the All Stars series, which is a companion novel series. And I don't even know, I think this was just a free book on iBooks that I found and downloaded it, and I decided to read it. It's been on my iPad for a while now. I just thought I'm gonna read it, and it was really, really, really good. I found another contemporary romance author that I'm gonna read all of her books. Like, so good. So we have, what's her name? Emmy. She's American. She has just graduated from college. She's going over to stay in London for the summer, and she's working at Wimbledon with her best friend Paige. Literally 5 minutes into her first shift, before she's even had a chance to like get a tour of the place and find out what she's doing there, because she's working in the tea tent, she is told to take a tray to the equipment manager's office. She's given directions, but it's a complicated place at Wimbledon. She gets lost. She walks into a room hoping that she'll find someone to tell her where to go. She walks into a change room to find a butt-naked tennis player in there. She gets like a full view of everything. He ends up asking her for a good luck kiss before his match, so she just obliges, because one of the things she wants to do while she's in London is to just kind of live a little, take more risks, because she's very much a thought out, methodical person, and she wants to take this summer just to kind of let loose a little bit and just have a bit more fun and to take risks. So she just goes for it. She kisses this guy. He tells her where the equipment manager's offices is, and that's it. Later that day, a friend takes her to go watch one of the tennis matches. Emmy's not really into tennis. Paige is like all about the tennis. Turns out one of the guys playing at Wimbledon this year is the prince. He's like third in line to the throne. He's like a really good tennis player. And Emmy realizes that was the guy she kissed. So they kind of keep crossing paths with one another, and they go on a date, but then the paparazzi naturally finds out about Emmy and starts digging into her past, which threatens to ruin everything. And this is another one of just those really cute ones, and it really just makes you wish that you could hop on a plane and go to a country with a single and eligible prince and fall in love, because, you know, now Prince Harry is off the market, so we've all got to try a little bit harder, girls. I love this one so much. And I'm excited for the next book because it is following, isn't it following Paige? Yes, it's following Paige, but it's not following Paige how I thought it was going to follow Paige. But anyway, I still really like this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. If you like sports romances, this is a good one. If you like royal romances, this is a really good one. And if you just like romances, this is a good one. And I'm actually in the middle right now reading another Katie McCoy book, and I'm loving it. So she's definitely an author that I'm excited to read more stuff from. So they are all the books that I read during the months of May and June. I'm really happy with how much I read. I'm, as I say, nowhere near close to getting to my reading goal for the year, but I don't care because I've loved every single book I've read. I just hope now that I can turn around and continue reading the books that I have on my currently reading pile, because there's like 5 there. One of them I've been reading since about November last year. Was it November last year? When did I don't even remember when the book came out. I've been reading it since it came out, and it's been out for a while. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them. I will link below to my review blog posts for all of these, so go check them out if you want to know a little bit more, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!